submissions from Fight Pass Invitational 8. In this first one, Andy Varela gets choked out by guillotine by Dante Leon. This is the first time we've seen Andy Varela get submitted. Andy shoots in for the double leg takedown. As they're going down, Dante Leon secures the guillotine, secures the overhook on the far shoulder, gets the other hand deep under the neck, and we can't really see the grip, but I'm assuming that Dante is grabbing on his forearm in order to get a deep guillotine grip on the neck of Andy Varela. And it's an arm-in guillotine. He's on his back, closed guard. Usually when you're going for a deep guillotine, at least in my experience, you got to go as high on your forearm as possible in order to get that grip deep. And you're putting your wings down, you're sticking your chicken wings down, pressing down. The lats are helping you to complete the choke. Not an easy choke because you are kind of on your back. The ideal guillotine would be if you're up on your side, but when getting taken down, sometimes you end up on your back. Now, going for a guillotine as somebody is shooting a double leg, it's a very risky move because if it fails, you just end up on the bottom. But it is not a bad defense to the double leg. But it does have a pretty high failure rate. There's a lot of times where somebody goes for the guillotine on the way down and the choke is not completed, but he gets a good bite on this choke and he probably has a deep grip on his forearm. And Andy Varela, he's fighting, he's getting his head out a little bit, but he eventually tapped. The escape doesn't happen. Our next favorite choke is Ronaldo Junior. He faces Isaque Bahiense. Ronaldo Junior submits Bahiense in overtime. Now it starts off in a turtle position. Bahiense is in the turtle position. Turtle is a hard move to penetrate sometimes. Sometimes people for the darce, but Ronaldo does not go for the darce. He goes for the over the head, which is the anaconda, the opposite of the darce. Same principle, but it's going in the opposite direction. He gets over the head and goes all the way through, so his hand peeks out from the armpit. Probably starts off in a gable grip. We can't see the grip at first. Gets the gable grip, then goes for the rear naked choke grip or the figure four grip. Bahiense is pushing away Ronaldo's elbow in order to open up the space, which is a good chance of escape. Ronaldo comes to kick the hand away. Here we see it again. Turtle, darce would be this way. He goes anaconda, gets a grip on the leg with his foot, gets the stomach to the back of the head, and he twists the head in order to get him on his back. Then Ronaldo goes for the figure four or rear naked choke grip, and he lets go of the foot once they're down. Bahiense pushes on the elbow to try to open up, and then he goes to this double hand grip, which helps him flare out the elbows to release pressure on the choke, but Ronaldo kicks it away, and he finishes the choke. Sweet, quick choke. The next one, Renato Canuto defeats PJ Barch by submission. So Flying Scissor is illegal in most jiu-jitsu competitions. In pretty much all of them. It is legal in MMA. Canuto hits the scissor, or he hits the scissor takedown. He gets Barch with an inside heel hook. So nasty takedown, nasty heel hook. Barch, at some point, he arches his back to try to relieve some of the pressure, but it's not enough. It's a fast tap. Scissor takedown to inside heel hook. Probably some damage on Barch. We see that Ryo Chonan did this to Anderson Silva in one of the last losses before Anderson Silva went on a tear in MMA. Ryo Chonan did a sweet. After losing most of the fight, he does this scissor takedown into an inside heel hook. Pretty much the same sequence, but we don't suggest anybody try this. It's nasty. I mean, it's something you could practice if you have one trusted partner, but it's something that's banned in most gyms and banned in most grappling competitions. Nicky Rodriguez faces Michael Pixley. Surprise, surprise, Nicky Rodriguez defeats him by rear naked choke. The sequence starts off in half guard, and Pixley does something that wrestlers might do, is he kind of starts to turn his back to stand up. So he pushes on Rod's hip as he's going to turn his back, which is eventually his downfall. Nicky brings his knee across and he steps into full mount, and he drops his chest onto Pixley's shoulder. And as he's dropping his chest onto Pixley's shoulder, that presents the gift wrap. So Rod reaches around and he grabs the hand in what's called the gift wrap position, very dominant position. Pixley is in mount with the gift wrap, and Nicky Rod, in classic gift wrap style, sits back and uses it to pull Pixley into the back mount position. Rod is probably trying to pull him all the way to the other side, but Pixley doesn't want to be moved, so he goes to the bottom side triangle. This is a weak side body triangle. Usually you would have the lock part of the triangle up, but it doesn't really matter here. It's enough to lock the hips and finishes the choke. And that's all she wrote. Taipei BJJ. Check out our page. Check out our merch. Taipei BJJ.